Hey fam, Speed Duel Bro here. How's it going? I missed y'all, and I trust that everyone's been doing just fine and testing out the new set. I myself am excited to present my creations here in the lab, and since we have a new set, we have a new playmat, and the reason why we went with this purple playmat is because the box is purple. Yes, some kind of logic, I know. But anyways, let's get right to it. So in today's video, we have Ancient Ruler Rises. Let's go. For the skill card, we have Ancient Ruler Rises. And for the monster lineup, we have 1 Spirit of the Pharaoh, 3 Pharaoh's Servant, 1 Jinzo, 2 Apprentice Magician, and 2 Old Vindictive Magician. And then for the spell and trap lineup, we're going to start it off with the 3 Sarcophagus, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then for spells, we've got 2 Creature Swap and 1 Hammer Shot. And then for traps, we have 2 Prideful Roar and 3 Widespread Ruin. And as for the side deck, we have 1 Dogoran, 2 DD Warrior Lady, 2 Dust Tornado, and 1 Eliminating the League. How to win / strategies. Now before we go over the game plan, fam, I want us to review these 2 cards right here, and let's start with the skill card, Ancient Ruler Rises. Now if you notice on the back here, it says at the start of the duel, flip this card over. It reads, apply the following skills. Once per turn, you can send 1 level 2 zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard and place one of the 1st Sarcophagus, the 2nd Sarcophagus, or the 3rd Sarcophagus from your deck or graveyard, or that is banished face up in your spell and trap zone. This is treated as being placed by the effect of the 1st Sarcophagus. And then, each Spirit of the Pharaoh you control gains attack equal to the number of Pharaoh's Servant and Pharaonic Protector on your field and in your graveyard times 900. So right off the bat, I want to give props to Konami for giving us the flexibility of being able to access the 1st Sarcophagus from basically anywhere, because we can definitely bet on the opponent trying to destroy our back row right away, especially if they see that this is the key card in our strategy. So good job, Konami. Thank you. And now let's review the 1st Sarcophagus. It reads, once per turn during your opponent's end phase, place the 2nd Sarcophagus, or after you've done that, the 3rd Sarcophagus from your hand or deck in your spell and trap zone face up. Then, if you control the 1st Sarcophagus, the 2nd Sarcophagus, and the 3rd Sarcophagus, send all of them to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 Spirit of the Pharaoh from your hand or deck. If any of these cards, including this card, leaves your field, send all of them you control to the graveyard, including this card. So you see, fam, you can clearly tell that the 1st Sarcophagus is the key to everything. If we lose it or any of the other pieces, it's over. Our strategy is pretty much shot. But again, thanks to Konami giving us this skill card, allowing us to activate the 1st Sarcophagus from the graveyard. That's gonna help us big time. So let's get on with the strategy now. Alright, so let's play this strategy out. So let's say it's our turn. We're gonna activate the skill card, and now we're going to send one of these level 2 zombie monster to the graveyard, and now we are allowed to play the 1st Sarcophagus from our deck, just like that. And now let's fast forward to the opponent's end phase, and the reason why I say that is because the 1st Sarcophagus is going to activate. We can activate the 2nd Sarcophagus from the deck or from our hand, so don't feel bad if you draw one of the Sarcophagus, because thanks to the first one, we're allowed to activate it from the hand or deck. So we do have some flexibility there, fam. So let's get back to the strategy here, and remember, we are in the opponent's end phase. So now it's back to us. Now we're going to activate the skill once again. So we're going to send another Pharaoh's Servant to the graveyard, and now we can activate the 3rd Sarcophagus. Now as you can see, fam, so basically by turn 2, if all goes well, we are going to summon the Spirit of the Pharaoh just like that. And I have to say, that's actually pretty good, because if you played in the TCG days, this deck right here was so bad. Like, you wouldn't believe how unusable this deck was. So I'm always for decks that didn't have any playtime back in the day, and now they have a potential or chance here for some spotlight. Oh, you know I'm gonna jump on that, fam. But anyways, enough with the flashbacks. So basically, as you can see, fam, by turn 2, we are going to have access to the Spear of the Pharaoh. So now we can pitch all of these, and then we can bring out Spirit of the Pharaoh. So now that we have Spirit of the Pharaoh out on the field, what are we rewarded with? Well, this guy has an effect where when he's special summoned, you get to special summon these guys here, the Pharaoh's Servant or the other Pharaonic Guardian, I think, or Servant, whatever. So basically, the Pharaoh just brings back his servants to help him win the duel. And don't forget about the second skill on this skill card, fam. For each of these Pharaoh's Servant or Pharaonic Guardian that are on the field and in the graveyard, the Pharaoh will gain 900 attack points for each of them. So in this scenario right here, Spirit of the Pharaoh is going to have 1800 plus attack boost, thus bumping it up to, I would think, 4300 if my math is correct. So in essence, Spirit of the Pharaoh is just a big old beater. I mean, even at just 2500, that should be enough to win the duel, but hey, more attack points the better. You can never have enough of that. So now that you've seen the main strategy of this deck, let's say things aren't going so well for us. The opponent keeps disrupting our plays, they keep destroying our sarcophaguses. What can we do to, gain some momentum or gain some control of the field? Well, this is where these guys come in and help. These are the monsters that will hold down our front line. And yes, you are correct in seeing the Pharaoh's Servant here. Even the Pharaoh's Servant with its measly 900 attack points is going to help us hold down the fort. So with the Apprentice Magician engine, we want to use this for defensive purposes. We want to be able to block attacks and then go into our old Vindictive Magician so that we can pop an opponent's monster. And we can also use these monsters for tribute fodder for Jinzo. But also with Apprentice Magician being a floater, now for those of you that have been watching my videos a while, you know how I feel about floaters. Anytime that there's a floater, there's got to be a creature swap. So now that we have the potential to gain control of the opponent's monster, which could really be the deciding factor in winning a duel, we can definitely begin to gain some momentum and control of the field. Because look at this, fam. Look at all of these monsters' attack points. They're so weak. And then the Spirit of the Pharaoh, he can't come out unless these sarcophagus go well, unless things go really smooth for us. So as you can see, we're not going to win any battles, so that's why we have to be crafty with our dueling. And then also with the back row of Prideful Roar and Widespread Ruin, this will definitely help our monsters survive the field much longer. Because again, in a head-to-head battle with an opponent's monster, we're not winning anything. So thanks to Prideful Roar, Pharaoh's Servant, Old Vindictive Magician, and Apprentice Magician, we can at least win something. And then as you know, Widespread Ruin's just there to flat out destroy the opponent's monster and just protect our own. But yeah, fam, that's pretty much it. We're kind of stalling and holding down the field until the Spirit of the Pharaoh rises. Card analysis. The skill card Ancient Ruler rises. Again, props to Konami for making this deck playable. If all goes well, we can bring out the Spirit of the Pharaoh in just 2 turns. Man, gotta give you your props, Konami. I didn't think it could be done because, again, for those of you that played in the TCG days, this deck was unbearable, unusable. But yeah, the skill card Ancient Ruler rises, excellent skill card for this deck. And then we play the 1 Spirit of the Pharaoh and 3 Pharaoh's Servant. Now, I believe this is the only ratio you need, fam, in my humble opinion, because Spirit of the Pharaoh is a very dead card. So we can't have it occupying too much space in our tight deck already, and it's speed duels, so we need to be able to answer the opponent's plays very quickly, otherwise it's over. But yeah, 1 is essentially all you need. And then we're just playing 3 of the Pharaoh's Servant because I feel like this is also just the right amount, unless you're gonna go for a vanilla based or normal monster based build of the Spirit of the Pharaoh. You could go down that route, but as we all know, normal monsters, they just can't do much. They're not so capable of a lot on their own. But again, fam, that's just my humble opinion, okay? You can build the deck however you want. I just want to point out though that we're running a fair amount of dead cards in this deck, so I just wanted to be able to minimize the casualties of running the dead cards and being able to incorporate more strategy into the deck so that we have a plan B if plan A fails. And then we're playing the limited to 1 Jinzo. The reason why Jinzo's in here is because we have floaters, so we have monsters that we can tribute for it. And since Spirit of the Pharaoh is just a big old beater, we need Jinzo to facilitate the field so that Spirit of the Pharaoh can just run over everything. And then we play the 2 Apprentice Magician with the 2 Old Vindictive Magician. You know, pretty nice little neat engine right there. You know, we get to float, block attacks, and we get to pop an opponent's monster. And again, with the incorporation of Creature Swap, that's a pretty good combo if you ask me. And then we play the 2 Old Vindictive Magician, again, Apprentice Magician related, and plus with the deck space being tight as it is, you know, 20 cards, I wanted to keep the deck to 20, so that's why we're only playing 2 here. And then we play the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd Sarcophagus. I don't need to explain that one. It's the key strategy of the deck, plain and simple. And then we're playing the 1 tech choice of Hammershot. Now the reason why I like Hammershot in this deck is because our monsters, again, are so weak. And what if the opponent swarms their side of the field, right? So let's say they have 2 monsters to our 1. So what we can do is we can Hammershot one of the opponent's monsters, and then we can Creature Swap so that we can have their monster and then destroy the Apprentice Magician and just build momentum from there. So in essence, Hammershot helps us get better control of the field. And then we play the 2 Creature Swap. Now, you already know, fam, how I feel about floaters and Creature Swap. You know, I can't pass up that opportunity. You know, the opportunity to be able to gain control of an opponent's strong monster. More often than not, that right there, that tactic right there, is enough to win the duel alone. So you know I'm gonna incorporate Creature Swap every time when there's a floater monster in the deck. And then we have the 2 Prideful Roar. Now the reason why I felt Prideful Roar was appropriate for this deck is because the Pharaoh's servant is so proud and loyal to their Pharaoh, so they wanna roar with pride. No, but joking aside, fam, as mentioned earlier, you can see that our monster lineup is very weak. So thanks to Prideful Roar, even our weakest monsters can become capable threats for at least one battle phase. Again, the main strategy of this deck is basically the minions holding down the fort until the Pharaoh arrives. And then we play the 3 Widespread Ruin for obvious reasons. You know, again, in a head-on battle with an opponent's monster, we are not winning anything. So Widespread Ruin just takes care of that opponent's monster right away. And then as for the side deck, fam, we have Eliminating the League. Now the reason why I wanted to put this in is just because it says here discard 1 spell, right? So we could even discard one of the sarcophaguses, and thanks to the skill card, we're going to be able to bring it back. So no worries there. And then we have the 2 Dust Tornado. Now, you know, this is just general stuff. You know, if the opponent has 1 too many back rows, you know, and then 2 DD Warrior Lady, one of the best monsters in the game still. And then we play the 1 Dogoran. Now, here's a neat little trick that I know that most of you already know. You know, why don't we Dogoran the opponent's monster and then Creature Swap away with Apprentice Magician. Pretty cool, right? And then here's a suggestion, fam. So let's say we won game 1, right? And then we're on to game 2. I would suggest, again, just a suggestion, side out these 4 cards right here and swap in whatever you want from the side deck, because the opponent is more than likely going to swap in their back row hate cards. So why don't we mess with the opponent mentally a little bit, yeah? And now, fam, it's time for the moment of truth. Where does this deck rank on the power scale? In my humble opinion, this deck is casual. Now, the reason why I say this deck is casual, fam, is because it requires some setup. You know, granted, 2-turn setup, that's not bad. It honestly isn't. But the fact that our strategy solely relies on the sarcophaguses, and if any one of them get destroyed, well, it puts us back to 0. Now, thankfully, we have a very crafty lineup of monsters, spells, and traps So we should be able to rebuild the momentum should we lose our main strategy here. But again, fam, don't let the casual aspect and the needing time to set up turn you away from this deck. This deck is definitely fun if you're able to pull off the main strategy. And props and yay for nostalgia, and props and yay to Konami for making this deck playable. I'm very happy with this deck. So there you go, fam. That's the deck. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please feel free to hit the like button because it helps me out a lot. And if you haven't already subscribed to me, your Speed Duel bro, you're more than welcome to subscribe because two things. One, I always play to win and I'll teach you how to win. And no matter what the power level of the deck is, be it casual, semi-competitive, or competitive, we're gonna do our best to win this thing. And two, if you love speed duels, I'm sure you'll love me too, your Speed Duel bro. Again, I just want to say it's good to be back. It's good to see all of you, and I hope all of you are doing well. I'm ready for this new set, new season, new decks, new skill cards, new everything. And you know me, we're going to try to cover all of the skill cards, so stay tuned for that. Thank you, fam, for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.